Okay.
Okay, God
On,
bless
on
Michael
to
Shannon.
on. Oh my God, Michael Shannon.
So
I think all the acting in this movie is good.
It is. It is.
I
Uh,
saw this when it came out,
mhm.
and I didn't like it. I liked it better this time. But the first time I saw it, I said, "What the fuck is Michael Shannon doing in here? A, he's too good to be in this movie. B, he doesn't fit this scene at all." And then I looked up the fucking real
You
guy,
looked
and they
up
look
him
exactly the same.
I
And I
know.
was like, "Oh
Act
well,
exactly the same.
I'm just gonna eat crow right now because
Mhm.
he's the right because not only is he a
Everybody
tremendous actor, but he looks exactly like the dude."
Uh-huh.
everybody in this movie spent a decent amount of time with the people they're playing.
Oh
Like,
wow, I
Joan
didn't know
Jett
that.
was on set every day.
right,
Who was on set every day?
Joan Jett.
Every
Well,
day,
she was a
Joan Jett was
producer,
on
so
set.
yeah. In fact, she complained that like, oh no, my Joan Jett, as I growing up, didn't wear leather pants all the time. And it's like thing is, the pictures of her
There's
back
a lot
then,
of pictures of her
of
wearing
her
leather
wearing leather
pants.
pants. So it's like it's not quite right.
I think in real life more blazers than in this movie, but
Yeah, that's
we'll
true.
just
But
You got a blazer at the end.
at
mhm.
the end. But
Yeah, Kay
anyway,
Stu,
needless
she
to
didn't.
say, there's some stuff I want to say. I'll say it later, but
Go
I
ahead.
liked it. I liked it better. That's this
Yeah.
time.
Okay, Chris, explain.
I don't know exactly the story of how the character that Michael Shannon plays in this movie was my babysitter for an afternoon, but
There he
Oh,
is.
that's him there.
that's
That's him. That's
that's
Like before he had
that's,
short hair.
that's me. That's my little brother, and
uh,
that's fucking
Kim Fowley.
Kim
Jesus
Fowley.
Christ.
Yeah, if you actually go Google that guy,
Hmm.
it looks exactly like him,
Yeah,
Hey,
he does.
what
That's why I
neighborhood
was
is that?
blown
What?
away.
Oh yeah.
like a lot.
Mhm.
I
And
was
I'm with
blown
Jared.
away.
I the first time I saw this movie, I was fairly. I mean, like
Yeah,
the
I was like,
director of this, the director of this has made some really awesome videos with Marilyn Manson,
Yeah.
some Pumpkins
I
videos.
actually think the cinematography is very nice. It's
It
a
is
good
really-
looking
It is
movie.
very
great.
pretty.
It's a good looking movie.
But here's now back to, and I actually think it's great that you picked this along with Decline, because all the things I like about Decline, granted it's a documentary, but that feeling of being in a place where things are happening and the authenticity of the things that are happening is represented in what I'm watching. And with all of these movies about rock and roll bands, me, and I can't let this go, but I'm like, does it look like the drummer is actually playing? Does it look like the guitar player is actually playing? And sometimes this movie gets it okay. Sometimes, I mean, it's like, I think there's very few rock and roll movies that get the music part really right.
Mhm.
And I think I think Kristen Stewart has the look right, but I just still don't fucking buy it.
Well, apparently, when they
Oh,
first played a recording of Joan Jett or to Joan Jett of Kristen Stewart singing a Joan Jett part,
yeah.
she thought they'd fucked up and given her the wrong tape, and
Yeah,
it was
I
her.
listened to this movie with a commentary track, and it's
I can still
basically
tell
the
it's
leads and
Kristen.
Joan Jett doing it, and Joan is clearly like, this is the movie that she wanted to make,
Yeah.
but I can't reckon. I actually buy the Sherry Curry performance way more than I do the Joan Jett. There's a level of
I have my own.
Well, the
gravitas.
film is really about Sherry Curry. It's not really about Joan Jett.
Right.
It's like
And so I can let all that shit go.
Until
I
the
mean,
very end.
till the very end.
what's her
Exactly.
name? The bass player who we've seen in a million things from
Alia Shawkat.
she
Yeah.
doesn't even have I don't think she has one line in this movie.
Arrested
What?
Development. I don't think she says a word.
I don't
No,
think
she's
she
actually
because-
just a very small role. Same
That's
with
because-
And now
with,
she's big now.
Lita
That's because
Ford.
that's because the two of them did not give their rights over.
also the
Yeah, Lita Ford had an enormous heavy metal career in the 80s,
that's right.
and they basically don't talk about any of that either. And maybe
Uh-huh.
it was also sort of a rights thing.
I think when this came
Yeah,
out,
no, it is. They
I-
didn't. They
Yeah.
Those two didn't give any rights to the production, and so they necessarily had to reduce them as characters.
Right.
And
I don't
That's
think
why I
I
point out that Alia Shawkat's guitar. That's
Yeah,
it's
you
a
got-
fi- it's a
I'm sure
it's a
you-
4003 Fireglow. So I'm pretty
I
happy
think
about
that
that.
I think that the time and place, though, I mean, like This is a
I
little.
just want to point out that's Scott's version of me pulling out the gun
True.
that Keitel
This
has
is a version
in-
of me pulling out a 9mm.
I lived in
Yeah.
Laurel
This thing.
Canyon.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
lived in Laurel Canyon in
Also,
1976.
I'll just shock it must be tough because this thing is 14 pounds. So
She's a tough chick, dude. She's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
no,
she
she's
is.
not no punk.
But I lived in Laurel Canyon through the early 70s, and I used to go by Rodney Bingenheimer's English Disco all the flipping time in the mid 70s. So like the level of like authenticity to the costumes, the scenery, like they nailed that shit. Like that stuff's great.
Right.
Cinematography
Cinematography is great.
great.
The costumes are great.
I
All
just
the wardrobe is incredible.
and ultimately this is one of those. I mean, we've sort of seen this movie before, this sort of rags to riches to rags story, only Joan gets to go off and become Joan.
It's pretty much every biopic in why I hate them.
There's a lot of cliches in the plot, but then I guess there's a lot of cliches to this story with most rock, a lot of rock and roll bands that were first starting out.
Well, it's curious because Sherry Curry is kind of a weird, she's a Bowie fan and kind of a romantic. You know, the part where they're driving along to a gig and she wants to listen to fucking Vincent by what's his name?
Yeah, by
oh god,
it's not Gordon Lightfoot, but it's someone like that.
Someone similar to that. But I can't stand that song. But either way, she wants to hear it.
And she learns Peggy Lee for her audition.
Yeah. So she's a different kind of creature than everybody else in the band. Yeah. And so at the end, when she just kind of completely drops out, it's like I thought the lesson of the film was like there are some people who are just basically just carved to be rock stars, and some people are carved to not be rock stars.
Well, I felt like this is definitely the case where, I mean, at least, okay, I'm just going by this movie now. I don't know the actual history.
No, we only talk about the film.
But this movie depicts essentially a boy band, or in this case, a girl band that's created by someone in order to scratch an itch somewhere. I mean, it's like the same as like you heard the stories about how Criss Cross was like discovered in a shopping mall, and it's just like put these kids together and like make them rap.
Right. Well, that's Joan Jett's pitch is like make us a girl band.
And like even though I was very young, I mean, the first thing I ever heard from Joan Jett, of course, was "I Love Rock and Roll."
Yeah,
and I think that is one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. I mean, it's like right under like "We Built This City." It's like the same energy.
No, it's terrible. But he should have much better songs. Than
I never respected her. Like, I think she's a phony. I think this whole band is a phony. But I think this movie's pretty okay.
Also, the Runaways were never really that big in the United States.
Nope.
Yeah,
they weren't.
No, they're the definition of big in Japan.
Yeah, big. That's basically it. Yeah, and the thing is, the Japanese like they saw exactly. They're more comfortable with the whole jailbait thing than we are, at least at the time. You know, that's part of it. The jailbait thing is interesting.
The baby dolls or whatever.
One of the things about this film that's transgressive is that they talk about like they're all under 16. They're all like, they're having this thing about sex all the time, basically. And
he goes like, "Yes, jailbait."
Yeah, exactly. It was like it was a marketing strategy back then. It was crazy.
Sure.
I think Kim Fowley gets off a little too easy in this movie.
Okay.
I think he's like, everyone's a good actor in this, but like really, just like everything else, Michael Shannon just steals this whole movie, dude.
They chose to, I mean, I just think he's a much bigger creep than this movie portrays him.
He probably is a creep.
Objectively, and I think he gets off a little easy. Because
I don't know anything about him except he was kind of creepy in this, but like in the way that where he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pointed this out in the chat earlier, but I think one of my favorite things about this film is that it is a metaphorical as well as a artistic decision to hang around in Mount Lee with the old Hollywood sign. Yeah. And back then, it was all made out of wood with holes in it. It was like falling apart.
Yep.
And it was like decaying at that point. But this is before they started renewing it back, I think, 1982, 83.
Are you allowed to hike right up to it? And like,
yeah. Oh, the old days. Yeah. Shit.
Yeah.
I threw a rock right over the back of it between the Y and the Hollywood. Yes, one time but so that's
because it was just leftover advertisement from
a real estate company.
A real estate company. It used to say Hollywood Land.
Yeah.
And then after the real estate thing went bust, they just knocked down the land part and we're like, look, it says Hollywood now.
Yeah.
And
now it's all official. It's got a huge fence around it. It's got lights in the evening and changes colors and shit.
Yeah, like now you can't go right up to the letters.
No, you can't get within like.
No, LAPD would shoot you.
They'll shoot you. Yes, there are guards.
What year did that happen? Like, when could you go right up to it and then you can't
I threw the rock between the Y in 1982.
So somewhere in the 90s, maybe
Yeah. It started, but mid 80s, they started like realizing this is actually pretty important.
I was trying to think like.
Sorry, that's a tangent.
Remember, we used to go up there and change it to like Hollyweed.
I mean, somebody did that fairly recently.
Right.
Yeah.
Fictional movies that got the music part right. Meaning it felt authentic. I definitely put 24-Hour Party People on that list.
Right.
Which
just feels like a little bit.
I think this feels pretty authentic in terms of getting the music right.
Most of you would disagree with, but I actually weirdly thought that the Lady Gaga "Star Is Born" got the music part right. Like
I agree.
It felt like I was in a show. It felt like there was stuff that felt like even if I don't like that kind of.
We can have a longer discussion about all the Star Is Born movies, but that one actually
but I mean,
it found its genre and did it really well.
And I know that I'm kind of like geared to nitpick the shit out of this kind of stuff, but there's just something about this movie that kind of kept me a little not like the venues didn't.
You think that you got it wrong? Oh yeah.
No, I mean it's just the venue. Like this, just maybe
it's a lot romanticized.
Maybe
also,
because
it lacks scope.
Decline.
Yeah,
which admittedly is a documentary, but rolled right into this, which is same like only.
I watched them opposite. I watched this one first and Decline.
I did too.
Yeah, this film lacks scope in a lot of ways. I wish it had a bigger budget. I didn't buy any of the Japanese stuff. It was just somewhere they shot somewhere in LA with a bunch of like Asian extras. You know what I mean? I never bought it.
Yeah. So I don't. It's marginally better than the first time, but not much.
Yeah,
right. I'm the same. It's a mediocre film.
There's parts of it that are extremely authentic, not necessarily in the music, but in like the way the music industry deals with people.
Yes.
And especially
that's like, very authentic.
The scene where and that's Rush, where they almost get into the fight with the headliner.
Yeah.
Like
was that Rush?
Well,
yeah, that's
Rush said no, that was our roadies.
Yeah,
but historically in real life that was a Rush gig. They were with Rush.
Yeah, apparently.
And that feels so real.
Also, when she took the cigarette in the face, that was real.
Jesus, it was.
She took that cigarette in the face. That's not fake. You can't fake that.
You can't fake shit like that. Yeah.
I know that's Kristen Stewart being a badass that she is and just saying like, I'll fucking do it. Let's go.
And she did. Took a cigarette in the face.
I like her. I like her a lot in other things we've watched.
This is my second favorite after Personal Shopper.
I'm not the biggest fan of her, but I respect the shit out of her.
I think she worked really hard on this.
I've seen her in 4 things, and I've liked her in every one of those things.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I've never watched the Twilight movie, and I never will.
I really like that Christmas movie that she did
in that underwater movie.
I heard.
I didn't see that. But I like that Christmas movie she did a lot. Actually,
it's so funny that don't forget her that Sherry Curry's sister is Riley Keough.
Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah,
we get bigger later on, but that
this is her film debut.
It is.
Oh,
it is.
Cool.
And the thing is, she looks exactly like who plays Sherry Curry?
Dakota Fanning.
Dakota Fanning.
They're almost doubles. It's crazy.
They're both very pretty.
It's fantastic. Mm-hmm.
If you told me Dakota Fanning was also Elvis's granddaughter, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, me too. Good stuff.
Yeah, I think she's actually pretty good in this.
She is. She's really good.
Yeah, it's all the acting's pretty.
It's not
good.
exactly sympathetic. She's kind of a selfish character.
Yeah.
Near the end. How's that?
She's like 17, so give her.
I know that's okay. Thank you.
And look at what she's dealing with. She's dealing with her mom just fucking dipping out to Indonesia.
Yeah, the dad's gone.
Sending her back, and
the dad oddly is like really nice, but just not there.
An alcoholic asshole, and so yeah, exactly. But the thing is that Chris pointed out the fact that these are all fucking kids.
These are kids.
They're just kids, and they don't know what they're doing. You know, Kim Fowley is kind of,
which is why they're prey for Kim.
I know it's like, and you see that these poor kids are like being molded by Kim Fowley into this thing like you're jailbait, you're hot. I'm gonna throw some dog shit at your head, and like you're gonna like it, and this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that's
and it's kind of like it's a little sick, but
apparently that heckler drill was a real thing he did with a lot of people.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I listened to this with the commentary, Joan and the two leads. And a lot of the conversation is, that actually did happen.
Yeah.
5%, that basically happened. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it was actually. I'm kind of disappointed this director didn't go on to make other movies because this
Was this it?
Her only
Who made this?
Floria. I'm going to mangle her last name, but she came from music videos, and Jesus,
Floria
Sigismondi
Sigismondi.
videos she did. They're fucking
What?
great.
Her name is Floria Sigismondi.
Yeah, and she did there's a
She's not American.
Smashing Pumpkins video that they did for the Machina record about with two junkies in it. That's like really hardcore. She did that one. She's got talent, but obviously maybe this experience.
Also, she chose.
I think she needs a better script.
Also, she chose to shoot this thing in Super 16, which is like
but
really
again,
tiny.
it's beautiful
and they
looking.
cut
I love
the top
it.
and bottom off to make it scope.
But
it's
it looks nostalgic. It looks of the time in the good way.
Some grainy fucking shit, but it works.
It
works
so
nice. Well. It gives a nice feel of the time. You know what I mean?
Roadhouse Pictures was going to distribute this, and then they collapsed right before
it was
about to come out.
I
And
remember
so it got
them.
picked up.
I can see all the letters on the sticks.
It got picked up by whatever the name of the actual distribution company was for this, and it cut their distribution down to like 1,200 theaters, and it just
never.
I know I didn't do anything. I was lucky to see it actually.
Even though it apparently did pretty well. It did pretty well at Sundance that year, but by that point it was too late.
I can't remember if I saw it in the theater or if I rented it.
I saw it,
but I definitely saw it the year it came out.
But it was only in theaters for like 2 weeks. It disappeared really quick.
Yeah.
And so I think she kind of got blamed for this movie being a failure,
which is not fair.
Right.
The director.
Oh no, the director.
Floria Sigismondi.
I mean, there's so many male directors that have music video directors that have gone on. I mean,
also,
Fincher, Chris Columbus.
Also, this is my.
But they get 3,600 screen releases.
Yeah. First for me, this is actually the first time I picked 2 female directors.
Right.
And
also, somebody said that Shannon steals the movie. No, the person who steals the movie is fake Charles Manson behind Chris right there.
I love that guy. All right. Show of thumbs.
I mean,
it's like this.
60%.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna use my
film.
weird.
So we got some different clock. We
got
clock directions. So wait. Jared's at like 2 o'clock. You're at like a 10 o'clock. You're at like 2 o'clock. So I'm at noon. I'll add it up later and give you the results. How's that?
Okay.